Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time it is that you're joining us from across the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of KAZI Dubai. For those who are new right here, KAZI Dubai is an upskilling, training, and job placement platform that is out here trying to create opportunities for Africa and East Asia. And as is usual, let me just make sure that we are live on all the platforms. For those of you who are watching us from LinkedIn, say hi, send a message, send your questions as we prepare for this amazing session. Those who are joining us on YouTube, I can see we are live on Mawaida Africa YouTube. On Facebook, we are live on Facebook. Yes, we are. And so we are live and everybody is catching us live and clear. So KAZI Dubai is here once again with a very insightful session. Today we're looking at African capital capacity. What's the capacity of the African professionals? And I'm going to be joined by HR experts from the continent who are going to be really giving us insights for all our recruiters. You need to know why you need to sort of focus on Africa, a little bit also on East Asia, and why professionals from these countries are really what you should be looking at. And I know a lot of people are actually not very familiar with regions which they're not from. You know, people from Africa might not be very familiar with what's happening in the UAE. And also in the UAE, you might not be very, very familiar with what's happening on the ground in Africa. And that's why we're here to build that bridge so that you can tap into the human capital potential that I've personally been in, obviously operated from Kenya my entire career. And I know the capacity that Kenyans have. I know how innovative they are. I know how creative they are, how hardworking they are, how educated, how very well spoken a lot of Kenyans are. Obviously, today we're looking at Ghana and Zambia and why you as a recruiter need to pay a keen interest in Africa as a source and as a pool for your recruitment and how you can be able to get the right people. And also Hassan will be talking to us as an organizational design expert. Why is it important for you to bring in the right people into your organization? It's not just about filling spaces. It's about picking the right talent. And so we're going to be going through all that so that then you can understand why you need to check out Africa. But also for all my job seekers, friends, or if you have a friend or a family a member who's looking for a job, our HR specialist will also be telling us what opportunities are there in Dubai. And of course, we do have Changu, who is currently a HR professional working in Dubai, originally from Zambia, but right now working in Dubai. She's done a lot of recruitment, and so she'll be able to give you those insights and those nuggets that can really, really give you an unfair advantage. And that's what we are here to do as KAZI. We are here to give you an unfair advantage, whether you're a recruiter or you're someone who's looking for a job. We are here to give you that unfair advantage through information network and, of course, the amazing guests that are going to be here. And so, without any further ado, drum rolls, please, as I welcome my brother from another mother, Hassan. Hi, Hassan.
Hey, Bonnie, how are you?
Hi, welcome. Mondays come so fast. The weeks are going so fast.
Yeah, exactly. A very warm welcome to everyone for today's Papata Kazi's Dubai webinar, proudly brought to you by Wawate Africa, UAE Africa Networking Group, and the Human Transformation Crew Dubai. All right, everyone. For everyone, I'm Hassan Tirmizi. I am the CEO and founder of Human Transformation Crew, an organizational design and development organization. We do OD&D work, we do transformation coaching, and we also are into HR strategies. So today's entire element is all about HR, and with about 20 years across GCC and Southeast Asia, we would be looking into spotlighting the African HR capital potential of an incredible, and it's also an incredible timely and important theme, especially for GCC market, who is hungry and looking for skills, adaptable and diverse talent from all across the globe. And let's say that young and the most energetic professionals that we have in the world, Africa brings about one of the youngest, with let's say 1.2, 1.3 billion of their population right now
Mm,
is from the age of 2021 to 22, 23.
mm,
High potential work.
mhm,
And in terms of, let's say, organizational design, so you see, every organization has an organizational design. It
mm,
has boxes, it has lines and everything. So whatever we say, whatever we do right now impacts on who do you want in that particular box. Who is that person you want in that particular box? How do we identify the talent? Another
mhm,
thing that while we're doing Patakazi, me and Bonnie actually found out that globally there is not much database on the potential of Africa with a number of recruitment companies.
mm,
That was one of our main aim, as to introduce Africa into the world of human capital and show the potential of Africa to the world.
mm. So true, so true. And just to give you, I'm just looking at data here, and it's good for us to understand. Um, the current population of Africa is 1.5
Yeah.
billion. Okay, the growth rate is 2.5. Okay,
Hmm.
and so it's expected by 2015. By 2050, we're expecting it to be at 2.5. Africa has double the population growth rate of the world. Okay. So Africans are growing at double the rate of everybody else. So the percentage in terms of the world in 1960, 10% of the population, the global population was in Africa. By 2050, 28% of the global population will be in Africa. So you're looking at, and the population, the largest increase is the Congo, DRC, Tanzania, who are our neighbors here, and South Africa have the largest population growth in Africa, which is quite telling, because you can imagine DRC with all the conflict, with all the war, yet they have the highest population growth. And so everybody talks about the grab of Africa. Everybody's trying to grab, our oil, our lithium, our resources, I don't know, our solar, our whatever. But the part that most people have not even begun to touch is a human resource, the power of our human resource. And utilize it, not you. Of course, yes, it's been utilized. If you look at slavery, colonialism, yes, African human resource has been, and manipulated, and to be honest, used in bad ways. But I'm talking of true and gainful employment, because when you gainfully employ someone, you get way more out of them than enforcing slavery and all that kind of a thing. So when it comes to the human capital potential, I think this is something that has people have not even begun to realize
Yeah.
the capacity that is there in terms of this resource called the human resource within Africa, and then thinking of how to really maximize and tap into it.
But Bonnie, and another thing, adding to what you said, it's also stereotyping.
Mm,
So, internationally, we've also stereotyped some of the
mm,
countries,
mm,
right? And let's say Africa is one country.
mhm,
One might say not a continent or a country, but whatever it is,
mm,
my point is that you know, rather than us as HR professionals stereotyping, we should we should go in depth and insight into what the human potential, or what are the strengths and what are the capabilities of that particular country or that particular nation is. So
Mm,
that will also help a lot of us into, bringing in talent from across the globe,
mm,
because as you know, globally we are into DEI. So a
mm,
lot of diversity, a lot of inclusion, right?
mm,
So, and if we actually want to work on diversity and other things, for that we need to open ourselves out of that box, out of that stereotyping, and then
mm,
give those people the potential they are capable of.
mm. Awesome, awesome. And so, without further ado, let me bring up our very, very able panelists. And today, at least, we're going to have some gender balance. We always have we're always so gender
It's only
imbalanced.
you and me every time, yeah.
I know, right? So today we welcome some wonderful, wonderful, beautiful ladies from the continent of Africa, HR specialist and HR strategist. So let's start by Changu. Just do a quick, brief introduction of yourself. Tell us about yourself. Tell us where you are. Yeah, welcome, Changu.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome and the lovely introduction. So, I am joined in from Dubai. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm still in the office. Right after work, I decided to jump on the call. So, I've been in Dubai for almost 7 years now. I moved here in 2018. Soon after graduating from the University of Namibia, I graduated with a bachelor's in social work. But that's not the degree that helped me get a job in Dubai. While I was working as a student in while I was a student in Namibia, I was working as well as a waitress part time. So I did a couple of research where I wanted to work after my graduation because at that time opportunities were very limited both in Namibia and in my home country Zambia. So after doing some research, I came across Dubai, and there was a lot of information around Dubai being one of the cities that has the fastest growth rate in terms of career. So that's why I jumped on the opportunity to start applying in Dubai. I looked at which industry is hiring the most experts out of Dubai, and that was the hospitality industry. Now, because I was already a waitress, that for me was a leeway to apply for jobs within the hospitality industry. So I was lucky enough to land a job in Lapita, Dubai Parks and Resorts. That was my first Marriott job, and I was hired as a waitress. So the hotel has this initiative where you can do cross training. So I had the opportunity to do cross training in HR. Normally, it's not allowed. Most companies don't allow like other departments to go and cross train into HR because of the sensitive information within the HR department. But I was lucky, fortunate enough to get the opportunity to do that. So I was able to cross train into HR.
Um, Sorry, uh, you can hear me?
I think her
I think the internet just got lagged.
yeah,
Oh
internet.
no. Okay, okay.
But
The
Hi,
challenges with
Changu.
technology.
yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
audio.
and whatever she said, the one thing that comes to my mind is, start small, think big. Start small, grow big. So
Mm,
there has to be a time in your life when you have to start from somewhere, right?
mm,
So dream big, uh, start small, and act towards your dream. That
mm.
is what I, what I got from her uh, amazing experience. So while she jumps in, Emma, why don't you? Why don't we start with you? Let us know of who Emma is and what she does.
Thank you so much, Hassan and Boniface, for this opportunity. Um, so I'm just praying that the internet, gives us favor, so this goes smoothly. So my name is Amalendate, and I'm a consultant, a woman of many hats. However, for the purpose of this awesome session, I am a business and leadership consultant. So basically, what I do is that I help employers, run their businesses smoothly via people, strategy, processes, structure, everything necessary for business to stand. My experience started from me being into human resources. I'm a trained human resource professional, and I am a born and bred HR material. I love people. My passion stems. I chose human resources because I love to see people identify what their purpose is, and I love to see them thrive in that. Okay, I never knew I'd fall into human resources. I'd say I stumbled into it. I never knew it existed for quite some time. I'd always wanted to be in the people's occupation of in the medical section. I never knew that medicine wasn't what God had for me. So I found myself in business, helping employees find their footing and helping employers be able to attract the right people for optimum productivity and success. And so my journey started in Nigeria. I lived in Nigeria almost all my life, right from when I was from 3 months after cradle to um 2008, when I came back to my country for the first time as an adult. And so um uh, finding my way into human resources wasn't something I wanted, but I found that it was something. When I learned about it, I noticed that it spoke to me, and I started the journey, and I have never regretted it. I had mentorship from one of my first mentor in human resources. She inspired me to be who I am today, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Right from when I finished university, I started out my profession as a center manager for a training institute, and then on from there, I landed in a media house as the first HR manager for a startup company. And after 6 years, I decided that it was time for me to give myself fully to the entire country. Grateful for all the experiences I've had. What happened, and I got into business strategy. So as HR practitioners, we are trained to produce or provide services based on the business strategy of the company. And unfortunately, in Africa, many employers or business owners have access to capital for business or resources for business, but they don't lay the foundation. So usually when I go into your business, I'm not the kind of HR that would just tell me, recruit for me and I recruit for you. No. I'd ask you, what exactly does your business want to achieve? What is the DNA of your business? What does this business mean to you? Because the kind of people that work with you must have the same kind of mindset and DNA to be able to gel with you and produce the same results. I mean, Hassan was speaking about organizational development, why it's important for certain things to be in place for organization to survive. Now, people make the difference. People are the recipe for what organizational success. And if you have no idea or clue of who you are as an employer or an entrepreneur, you can't even identify the right people that should work with you. And so luckily for me, when I was in university, I was very good with strategic management. And when I got out, I went to train myself in HR strategy and then business strategy. I also have a mentor in that aspect. And so I said, you know what? I cannot provide service for you when you don't have a foundation, because the success of my candidate or my should I say the employees I recruit for you is determinant on the foundation you lay. If I bring you top talent and you don't have the foundation, you're going to disgrace me, and that is not good for my business.
Yeah.
So I decided to offer to help them to work on their business plan, to work on their business strategy. When we are done, they'll get the right people. In human resources and recruitment, it's about finding the right talent, isn't it? And so if a business strategy is prepared, you can attract the right people. And this is the problem we're having with the employment sector in Africa. Mismatching all around. And you blame the people for being lazy. You blame the people for not being productive, without looking into yourself as being the one who is not ready to, work with the right people. And so that is how my journey started. I run ICS Africa Limited. It's a purely business consulting company, and we are focused on leadership development, focused on startup and SME consulting, focused on events management, marketing and communications, as well as commodity trading. So that's a bit of me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so
Awesome, awesome,
much.
awesome.
And as Chango's here, let's complete her story.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Apologies. It seems there was a technical error with these virtual meetings. This is bound to happen.
We in Africa would say your villagers don't want something well for you.
Yeah, I'm back here. So where was I? What was the last thing you heard?
So the last thing we heard that you was a waitress, and then you had a chance to collaborate yourself with HR. So we lost you from
Right.
there.
Yes. So I had the opportunity to cross train in HR. It was supposed to be a 2 months cross training, which was then eventually extended to 5 months. So that gave me an advantage because what happens is when you're working for a company as big as Marriott, you are also linked to other opportunities within the company. So other hotels had openings of HR coordinator, and I was able to apply, and I got into HR, and that's how I grew my career, leading into now currently as an HR manager for another leading real estate company in Dubai. So I've held several roles in HR over the years. I've done recruitment as well. I've done wellness in HR. I've been a head of talent and culture outside of Marriott for over a year. And then before moving to this current role now as an HR manager in real estate.
All right, lovely. So, hearing your story, Chango, and then Emma. So, this one question is for both of you. When we hear the word Africa human capital potential, so what's the first thing that comes in your mind? Is it resilience? Is it adaptability? Is it innovation? So, tell us how it's defined for you and how you have become one of those human capital potentials of Africa that brought you yourself to where you are right now. So, Emma, you or Changu, anyone can start.
Well, let me go first. I would say the first, aside from those words that you have, of course, the resilience comes to mind when I think of the human capital in Africa. But another word that comes to mind is the skill gap, because there's a very big gap between the market, the skills, and what actually candidates, the information that candidates have. So candidates are looking for roles. They don't know how to get to those roles, or they don't know how to put themselves in position where they can be seen as competent for those roles. And recruiters are also trying to get that out of the candidates. And so there's that gap that recruiters are not able to tap or find the right candidates in Africa. And that's mostly because in many cases, we lack the information. We don't know where to go to find these jobs. Sometimes we're misinformed. There's a lot of misinformation that is going around, especially about even jobs in Dubai. And that's why platforms like these exist, to try and reduce that gap and also link candidates to recruiters in Dubai, and link recruiters in Dubai to the right candidates.
All right, lovely. Yeah, Emma. So, you want me to repeat the question for you, or
I think I got the question from the way she answered. So what comes to mind, or if I would say how I would describe the qualities of our current African talent, she's
yeah?
hit the nail on the head. As a recruiter, I struggle. People listen, people say there are no jobs. There are jobs locally, there are jobs globally. And this is the issue. Upskilling. The skill gap is massive. And some of us, beyond being recruiters, we're also corporate trainers, we are mentors, and they're also implementation partners across the country and continent that also have such upskilling programs that are helping this talent to get the opportunity. The another issue we're always having is willingness. The the will to go beyond their comfort zones. African talents are too comfortable. They are way too comfortable. But if you notice, when they travel out of the country and they are fortunate to get a job, this is what Africans need: a system that forces them to what align. When you come to Ghana, there's a place we call Bema Camp. I don't know if you've Boniface, you remember Bema Camp when you came to Ghana?
Wait, I was just in Accra. It's
It's
in
in
Accra.
Accra, yes. Bema Camp was in
Okay.
Accra. That's the
Mm.
soldiers' base. It will shock you
Okay.
that when
Uh-huh.
you're driving and you're getting close to the junction, you know, if you're at the junction, every Ghanaian behaves. If you were a scrupulous driver that is, what's the word now? Irresponsible driver, if you walk anyhow, when you get to the area, everybody
Mhm.
behaves. It
Mm.
tells you that the African mind, I don't know why it is that way, but the African mind, without a structure that forces you
Mm.
to align, it will not behave. So the very person you employ here in Africa, when you take the person out to a country where systems and structures work, you see the difference. So what does that tell you? The African has the potential to be disciplined. The African has the
Mm.
potential to be resilient. You have the
Mhm.
potential to achieve it. So those are the, I would say, the positive qualities that Africans have, but the environment needs to be able to what bring it out of them. There are
Mm.
Africans who, you know, in the African setting, you're supposed to, you know, take care of your family, not just yourself, right? Unlike where you stay out of the country, some parts of the West, you live on your own. In Africa here, every salary you make is budgeted for the family, nuclear family and extended family, and that drives them to want to work. Okay, we also have others who obviously that responsibility exists, however they are driven by purpose, they are driven by a career calling, and so they want to make
Mm.
an impact. Now these are the two subsets of what you have: those who need bread and butter, and those who obviously need bread and butter but are driven by purpose. In Africa you will find those people, and thankfully we thank God for, you know, some of us who are in the system and are bringing these ones out. We are hand holding them and preparing them for opportunities. Some of my mentees have traveled out of the country for this Canadian work travel opportunity. I have some of them in Dubai, UK, United Kingdom, and some in Australia. They've traveled and they are thriving very well. So indeed, the African continent has the talent necessary. However, they just need to be put through a certain process to get the opportunity that is needed for them. Thank you.
And
Awesome.
next very difficult question is for Chango. So if okay, so if you had to sit down with recruiters, let's say in Dubai or any of the GCC countries, what is the one thing they absolutely need to understand about the African talent?
That the African talent only lacks opportunity.
Hmm.
There's so much talent in Africa. The only thing that is lacking are opportunities. And that's why we see a lot of Africans leave the continent and start to thrive outside. And that's because there are usually more opportunities that are there to support those talents outside of Africa and within the African continent, because it's very limited and very competitive. You're not really given opportunities to nurture those talents. So when the advice I would give to recruiters in Dubai or anywhere around the world is Africa has a lot of talent. We just need to give them the opportunity.
So, if you say opportunity, is it because the talent is stereotyped somehow, or they don't understand the talent, or they're not exposed to the potential in Africa?
It's it's a bit of both.
Hmm.
So not so much on, not only on the stereotype, but also sometimes recruiters struggle to find the right talent. And that's because the African person doesn't know where to go to link themselves to those talents. I'll give an example. Most recruiters in Dubai are hiring via LinkedIn. This is the platform that a lot of recruiters are using to hire talent. But when you see how many, I've created a platform that Zambians can use to get information on getting jobs in Dubai, but most of them are not on LinkedIn. And some of them don't know how to use LinkedIn, or they don't even know what LinkedIn is. So if you don't know what platform the recruiters, or where to go and find the recruiters, it becomes very difficult for you to link yourself to those opportunities. And also the lack of information. If they don't have information on what does my CV need to look like, how do I expose, or how do I put myself in a position where I am attractive to a recruiter, doing my research on companies. For example, some companies have very rigid appearance characteristics. I would say when it comes to tattoos, some companies, if you have a tattoo, you cannot work for that company if you have a visible tattoo. That's the standard that the company has put in place. But there are certain companies, even if you have a tattoo half of your face, they love you. They want to hire you just because of that. So doing your research and finding the right company, and this is something that really the African talent is lacking, is the information and the platform where they need to go to find this information. And LinkedIn is the platform where you can connect with recruiters.
Lovely. Emma, would you like to add on that point?
She said a lot of things that I think that nothing much needs to be said. But what I would say is this, if I were to add, you see, talents need to understand what we call global readiness. Okay, there are certain things that are unique to certain jurisdictions and certain things that are globally accepted. And I can imagine working in the Emirates, and you know that the Emirates is known to have harsher policies and harsher cultures and all of that. You know, if I were to use that word, unlike other liberal countries, so it's very important that global cultural awareness is something that the talents across the continent in Africa are ready to understand and ready to comply with. If not, they will not succeed. It's very important to know that what you are comfortable with is not something that may be accepted where you are. And so I always say that you should, certain things that Chango can do for you, and there's something that you need to do for yourself for it to help you get to the UAE. What am I talking about? How are you preparing yourself before Chango sees that you're attractive, appealing to the kind of her clients that she wants to recruit? You need to understand the needs, that the attributes, the characteristics, the attitudes that is necessary for you to get attracted to Chango, and then she will say, okay, you are a talent that is attractive to her target market. And these are the ways that you can succeed anywhere in the world, whether it's in the UAE or outside the UAE. But for the purpose of this, it's very important that we understand the nature and expectations of the geographical location that you as an employee, you want to succeed in your career. Thank you.
All right. So picking up from what Changu said, or what Emma said, so I have a question for both of you. So according to you, and with your diversified experience, how prepared is the talent in Africa for the roles in, let's say, a fast-paced competitive market like Dubai?
Okay, so for Ghana, you would find the readiness is there, because even with the programs that the government puts in place, past, present, future, you do see them in their numbers. I tell you, the market in Ghana is huge. And I'll say the advantage that the UAE would find is that there are less jobs than available hands, meaning the talent is more than the jobs available. And even in the private sector, the same happens. We have more jobs in the private sector than available talent. And that is the reason why we have a lot of numbers flying around the country all the time. Today, Boniface, when you come to Ghana, the airports is always full. Everybody is going. But still, yeah, it's always full. You want to work there. How are you going? The opportunities out there. They're going to work. So I would say the readiness is there. The availability of talent is here. What I would only say is that if you want to recruit from the UAE, you want to recruit from Ghana to the UAE, have a system. Work with recruiters that will help you to find the right people you want, because some people are also looking for opportunities to what we call stowaway. You know what stowaway is, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
True.
they want to come to Dubai because from Dubai they are moving somewhere else. That is something you need to be mindful of. So please work with trusted recruiters to get you the right talent. They know exactly how to get you what you want, so you don't waste your money and waste your time.
Yeah, there's one thing called money laundering, and there is another thing called people laundering. So we
Yeah,
need to
thank
be
you.
careful.
Exactly. People laundry. I like that. I like that. I've learned
Don't be
something.
laundered.
Yeah,
People
yeah. So
laundry.
we
Tell you, people laundry. I tell you. I tell you.
Mm.
so so Changu, what do you have to say? I mean, with your experience in Dubai, and you know you have your roots in Africa, and now you've moved to Dubai. You have information. You have people coming to you. So is they are they actually prepared for the roles that the type of market that Dubai gives are I mean, are they prepared to take on those roles?
Most of them think they are prepared, but they're not. And that's because out of desperation, people think they're prepared. Out of desperation, people think they have the right information. And out of desperation, people want to make decisions, but actually, they're not prepared. There are times that I have asked, somebody approaches me and says, I've been looking for a job in Dubai, someone from home, of course. I've been looking for a job in Dubai, and I ask them to share their CV with me. They share their CV, and I send it back and say, you need to change a few things. They send it, I send it back to them, and they don't get back to me 1 week later. And Dubai is a very fast paced city. And even just the country itself, UAE, is very fast paced. So when opportunities come up, if someone approaches me and asks me, do you know anyone that can be an accountant in my company? I would say, okay, let me reach out to a few people. I'll reach out to 10 people. 3 people are ready with their CVs. I forward the CVs to the person looking. And while other people are still trying to sort out their CVs, but guess what? Within 24 hours, this position is going to be filled. Because when somebody in Dubai, if somebody asks for a service today, they need it yesterday. They are already running behind time. And because the city is so fast paced, opportunities come and go within a blink of an eye. While you are still trying to sort out your CV, while you're still trying to get someone to do something for you, things are moving fast. People are taking opportunities. Some people have been preparing for these opportunities for years, so people are ready. So you have to make sure that you're ready for opportunities even before they present themselves.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And one thing I mean, me and Babani have been repeating from in the last sessions and right now, when you ask anyone of what do you want to do, they say I want to do everything or I can do everything. That is the biggest issue, that people don't understand that everything means everything. And once you have that everything opportunity with you, you see, and then you start becoming selective. That oh, no, 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 I won't be able to do this, and I won't, and I will be able to do.
Mhm.
And picking up for Changu and picking up from Emma, one thing that I have and Bonnie, we have been focusing on throughout our sessions is create a personal brand for yourself. Tell people who you are, what are your capabilities, so they can shortlist you in their mind, that whatever the roles they have or whatever things they have, they can pinpoint you and put you in that specific job role. So I completely understand of where you guys are coming from. So let's so one other thing that I want to ask you, and then I know Bonnie is itching to ask questions. I'm sorry, Bonnie, I'm taking your time, but
Ah, no, please, please take over.
so when we talk about HR, it's only what we talk about. So you see, it's a common interest. So, how can
I,
companies in Dubai, or let's say recruitment companies in Africa better identify and harness the African professionals in identifying their unique value uh, in the GCC countries, let's say.
I think the first thing is understanding what the candidate wants and understanding what the company wants. And candidates need to know what they're good at and what they're strong in. You cannot be good at everything.
Mm.
And anything cannot be your statement, I can do anything. That won't work. So if you're being interviewed for an opportunity, you can highlight two things that you're good at or two fields that you're good at and stick with that. Even if those fields may not be relevant for the position that you're being interviewed for, the recruiter at the back of their head, they'll know that, oh, we do have an opportunity actually that might be suitable for you more than the one that we're interviewing you for. So they may link you to other opportunities because you have projected yourself as someone who knows what they're passionate about and somebody who has their mind in the right place and they know where they want to go. Now if you say you can do anything, that sounds a bit desperate, and obviously no one wants to hire a person out of desperation. We all know when you hire, in my experience, whenever I hired candidates out of desperation, the next thing they do is they leave. And in Dubai, the cost of recruitment is extremely high. Companies are spending so much money on hiring candidates, not just on the recruitment costs. We're also talking about visa costs. We're talking about the cost of booking a flight, because some companies do provide flights for candidates. So whenever companies are recruiting, they're not looking for desperate people. They're looking for people who have the minds in the right place, people who know what they want, and people who are willing to learn and grow within the company.
Exactly. Emma, we would love to hear your view points on this.
Sorry, yeah, my girls just got back from school. Sorry for the distraction.
Mm.
Yeah, it's she mentioned most important part, defining clear hiring needs and understanding your global talent strategy. It's very important. I think that one of the things many international recruiters normally would want to do is to identify where the right talents are found. So I'm sure my sister obviously knows when she's looking for, international talent, she knows exactly where to go. And she spoke about LinkedIn recently. So usually you want to optimize recruitment channels. You want to go through LinkedIn. You also have what called Glassdoor. And then there's another one I think called Indeed. Yes, Indeed.com. You find them. Definitely, you also want to engage local and international recruitment agencies who are specialized for hiring and have testimonials for doing that. And then there's this popular, strategy that's developing, organizing international job fairs and having industry conferences for their networking. I love to hire from referrals. So there are certain people who I would trust to, refer the right talent with me. Let's understand the basics. The right talents are found in a certain place. They're not found everywhere. So you must target the right place to find them via networking, organizing certain job fairs that would definitely attract. And more importantly, I think it's not really a problem for international recruiters. The competitive job benefits and compensation, all of those things are very, very important. And why I want to leave the comfort of my family and want to come to your country. I've heard people they've traveled and they want to come back because there's certain things that are new to them. They're unable to cope with the weather, they're able to cope with the food, they're unable to cope with the people and the culture. That is why we need to engage in cross-cultural, onboarding and integration programs, as well. Let's not just allow them to dream of what we see on television or social media. Let them know what really is in when they travel, so they make a decision to definitely want to be there. And obviously you want to play with both in-person jobs and remote or hybrid opportunities for them, so that you can, talent these days are evolving. Some of them prefer to do just remote, and they are very effective in remote. Some of them are hybrid. Some just prefer in-person jobs. So it's very important that you do your profiling properly and attract, so you can attract the right talent. So don't just say you want to recruit from Africa. Have your proper hiring strategy. Identify the areas where the talent exists. Connect with the people that know how to get this talent. Create programs that will ensure that these people are well onboarded, ready for integration. Their mindset is ready. They're as resilient as they need to be. Provide the necessary training. They might need that basic training, and they need to sort them out when they get there. And obviously have other a mix of opportunities so they can attract as many talents as necessary.
Lovely.
So
So,
true, so true, so true.
yeah, Bonnie.
Yeah, maybe the only thing I can add, and it's been our experience as we've been doing the evaluation interviews for all. And by the way, thank you guys. Guys have been signing up for evaluation interviews. We've been handling that, and guys have been getting top-notch feedback. And so, as we continue with, as guys then proceed to upskilling, one critical element that we're talking that I think Changu has touched on it, and also Emma has touched on it: the desperation trap. You cannot fall into the desperation trap. It's so easy, and I understand because there's so many people whom we interview, and honestly, I know it's a joke, but it's serious and it's almost sad. Honestly, it sounds like an advert for an NGO. Okay, people always it's like you're telling us your tall story, your sad story of how you've come here, and the way you have a problem, all these things. And guys, I know that's what's in your head, because obviously you are if you're looking for a job, unless you already have, no one looks for a job when they're comfortable, because it's either you don't have a job, you desperately need one, or you are not happy with your current job and so you need a better job. So the truth of the matter is, no one looks for a job because they are in a happy position. Anyone who's happy in their position is not looking for a job, obviously. But the unfortunate thing is that desperation actually works against you, because as I mean, you've heard it from the horse's mouth, you've heard it from the recruiters themselves. They can read that desperation of you, even by how you're talking, how you're reacting. Chango was talking about how you ask someone to send their CV, they'll all get back to you. All that is part of that desperation. Or when you're there during the interview, you're just laying out all your problems. And here's the thing, guys: don't focus on your problem. Focus on always, when you focus on solving other people's problems, your problems are solved. Okay? So don't focus so much on the builds and even your mind. And that's why it's so important for you to be joining these webinars. And that's why we're doing these webinars for free. And by the way, all these webinars are available on the links, so that keep feeding your mind as you're looking for jobs. Always feed your mind with, as I say, and I think we said it last time, don't come with your need, come with your seed. What is it that you have to offer the employer? Because we've done interviews and it's like when you tell people, tell me more about yourself, they tell us about all their problems. Tell us what you have to offer. What is it about your experience? What is it about your personality? What is it about your character that makes it of value, that me as a recruiter will be like, wow, yes, I am missing out here. Make me feel like I'm missing out by not. In fact, I like what Vusi once said: when you're trying to sell, and it's actually a sell technique, make people feel bad for not buying from you. Or in this case, make someone feel bad for not hiring you. You're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm not hiring this person. Because you presented yourself as this amazing person that's going to fix all the problems, etc. So always look at the value that you bring to the table, not the food that you need to eat from the table. So please, guys, and this is, and that's why we're trying to push you also in all these coaching programs, so that we get your mind in the right, get your head in the game. Please try as much as you can. Do not fall into the desperation trap, because that desperation trap actually takes away the opportunities from your hands. Some opportunities will come, you will miss out on them because you're so much in your head. Even the interviews that you do, you're gonna fail, not because you can't capture those positions, but just because you are so much in that desperation trap, and you're getting caught up in that. So I think
Bonnie,
that's an you want
yeah,
to add something?
yes, I do. Just to add on the desperation trap, I know that in many cases, when in an interview you present yourself as a problem solver, you present yourself, you do your research about the company, you see what issues the company is facing, and when you attend the interview, you go there with a strategy of how you can solve those problems for the company. You become a very attractive candidate to a recruiter, to the point where when they send you an offer and you reject the offer, the recruiter can call you and say, why? What happened? What's the problem? Is it the money? Let's negotiate. Do you need more money? So the recruiters actually start to chase you and want to offer you more because of how you presented yourself. Now, in many cases, when you don't do your research and you're desperate, and they tell you, oh, we are offering 1,000 US dollars for this position, and you're so excited, oh my God, I'm moving to Dubai for 1,000 US dollars salary, and you think you're coming to live an amazing life, and your problems are going to be solved, until you realize that actually half of that is going to be paying your rent, and the other quarter of that is going to be paying your transportation to and from work, and the other little left is for your food, and you don't have anything left. And that sounded like a lot of money, because you were back home and you were thinking that because of the exchange rate, this is a lot of money, but you didn't think of the cost of living when you moved. And then you actually realize your quality of life back home was actually better than your quality of life once you moved to Dubai, because the work hours are different, the stress, the work pressure is different. Because bear in mind, when they offer you, let's say 4,000 US dollars salary, 2,000 US dollar, whatever salary it is, you're going to work that salary to the T, because the work hours, the stress, it's a very demanding and a very fast-paced work environment. So you really have to put all those things into consideration. I'll give an example. I connected one candidate from Malawi for a position in a very prestigious hotel on the Palm, an IT coordinator. And this candidate seemed to have the right qualification. And so I connected the person with the IT director of the hotel, and they did an interview. And a week later, I followed up with the director. I said, "How was the candidate?" He said, "Oh, the candidate was good. He was actually good, very well spoken, because communication skills, of course, are a big deal." So he said he had great communication skills. However, his salary expectation was 6,000 US dollars. And then and I was shocked. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, that's how much he was expecting." So he didn't do his market research, because first of all, it was explained to him food is provided. If you're working for a hotel, housing, transportation, and food is provided. And on top of that, he was expecting a salary of 6,000 US dollars. So because of that mismatch of his salary expectations and what the role was actually offering, he was not selected for the role.
Wow. Wow.
If I were to ask, was he given a was he oriented fully, properly? Was he given a contract to see before he took the job? Because one of my mentees was offered a job in Canada under this Canadian work travel stuff, and before he even had to leave the country, he was given a sample of the contract, and everything was clear, from compensation to working hours and what have you. It was clear, and he made a decision that he wanted to go. So my question is, did he not have all that information at hand before he decided to travel to Dubai?
No, so he hadn't traveled. The interview was done while he was in Africa. So it was a virtual interview. So it was just the initial introduction of what are your salary expectations, what do you see for the role, and this is what we're providing. So within the first screening, he was dropped because of the salary expectations.
But you know what I normally do when I'm recruiting Bonnie and Hassan and Django? I always put everything that has to do with the job before I come for my interview. Sometime 3 weeks ago, I was interviewing for an academy that recruits for international companies, recruiting for certain roles that work in academy. You won't believe that all the CVs that were given to me, right? They used an international recruitment company to get the CVs. None of them showed up for the interview. None of them. So what happened was the day before, I called. I had my instincts told me to just call, and I called to confirm that this is the amount that they were going to take. Some even messaged me a day before, in fact, less than 24 hours, asking me that the interview they're coming to do, they've seen that they're supposed to come and do a presentation. How much is involved in the job? And I was like, whoa, how come you're asking me this question at this time when I've already informed you days ahead? You're coming for an interview. And apparently, when I mentioned the salary, she was like, you know what she's earning is like half of what we are giving her. And I was like, what happened between you being selected and you being invited to the interview? So I called my client and I said, listen, this is what I'm getting. Almost everyone has backed out from the interview. And even the morning of the interview, I couldn't reach one person. And I asked her if the recruiting company told her. She said yes, that she was so sure. But when she called them, she mentioned, when we asked them, they said that they heard about it, but they thought it was something that I don't know. I don't know how they communicated it. But for me, I let you know, this is the salary. This is it. You don't come and waste my time doing it. Because interviewing is very stressful. Okay, don't come and waste my time. So I let you know the salary, the benefits, the physical condition of work, everything you need to know, and I ask you, do you want to proceed with the interview? That is it. That was how I was able to now start the process all over again, and I finally got the person I wanted. However, when I noticed that with the trend of the role, so this was for a digital marketing role, right? The person that is leaving, they've always been in-house. And digital marketing, you don't really need to be at the office all the time. However, it's a training institution, and they probably will need you to capture some content from what is going on, and they use that. But there are days where you may not have to do that. Because with digital marketing, you schedule, you have a calendar, have different ideas, and put it in your calendar and whatever. Every one of them kept asking me, what are the fringe benefits? Is it hybrid? All of them. And so in my reports to my clients, I said, listen, talent is evolving, talent needs are changing. It seems people in digital marketing is that you pay them more to sit in an office every day, or you give them a hybrid opportunity where they can manage the salary and then still not lose at the end. And my client was like, yes, they're going to now change the way they do things. And that is how I think will help recruiters be more successful. Because if we always allow the employers decide that this is what they want to do, we who are human resource experts need to advise them on the way forward. If not, another client of mine, before 1 year, people are leaving. Boniface, before 1 year, people are resigning. And these people are people who have worked in places longer than when they've come here. I had to look out for what the problem was. And in my next recruitment, I made sure that the profile of the client fit the culture. And if there's any change that needed to be done, I tell the employer that, listen, if you don't make this change, I would never win for you. I would always look like a bad recruiter, and I can't have that on my CV. So it's very important that we have a balance when it comes to recruiting for employers locally or internationally. I just wanted to share that to be in perspective. Thank you.
So true. Let's go to the comment section. Get a few questions and answers. We have Robert Omolo who's saying this is great. Thank you so much. We have David Kankam who's saying great. Then we have Edson Dimo, who's directing his question to Changu. He's saying, Changu, what structural barriers exist in African countries that prevent talent from accessing platforms like LinkedIn or global job markets? Maybe Changu, you can pick it up.
Yeah. Honestly, I would just call it what it is. I would call it ignorance. It's just a lack of information. It's the lack of information. Most recruiters or most recruitment opportunities in Africa do not take place on LinkedIn, and that's why most talents do not have LinkedIn profiles updated. However, most people who are woke about the corporate world and actually getting jobs know that LinkedIn is a way to go. Even now, African recruiters are recruiting from LinkedIn. LinkedIn is now being used as a platform in Africa as well, where candidates find the right job opportunities. So really, it's the lack of information.
That information gap. And maybe Emma, you can jump in. What other information gaps do you feel exist that are preventing African talent from reaching their full potential?
Information. And my question would be, let me play the devil's advocate. Is information really a gap? Information it exists, but they're not looking for it. Listen, from
Good point.
from the time I started as a young career person to my middle career level, there is nothing like there's no information. Come on, Bonnie. There's nothing like that. Listen, talents are just not being proactive. That is the problem. They want to be spoon-fed. What are you talking about? They want to be spoon-fed. They need to. The internet is available to all of us. They sleep on Instagram. They sleep on TikTok. They sleep on X. What are they telling you? No, information exists. The barriers that exist, structural barriers. I'll say this. In Ghana, for example, is the academic setting. Our curriculum is whack. Our curriculum is whack. Those talents who succeed, there are certain schools I'll give them their flowers. Ashesi University, I give Valley University, I give University of Ghana, I give UPSA, I give KNUST, and then Cape Coast University. Okay, I give them their flowers. So if you recruit from an Central University, if you recruit from these universities, you are sure of not regretting, you're wasting your time. But what is happening is that these schools I mentioned, some of them are going beyond the curriculum to provide programs that are out of the box programs for these people. And then more so they partner with, external people who provide other ways of alternative means of education to empower these people. So you see people think that Allison University or the Allison Learning Platform coming to partner University of Ghana, another educational platform. We have a lot of educational consultants these days who are coming in to collaborate with these universities to fill in that gap. And that is why we have the skill gap, guys, because we are still stuck to the academic curriculum of 20, 30, 40 years ago. We haven't evolved, and careers have gone ahead in a serious multiplication, whatever you want to call it. It's blown away. It's totally gone beyond where we are. It's outgrown the system. And so that is the major structural barrier. Our educational system in Africa is not evolving, it's not inspiring, it's not changing anyone. So people like us in the information entrepreneurship space or corporate training or whatever, we are the ones that have to fill that gap. So that is what that is the structural barrier. And also, I think that this is thinking out of the box, guys. We don't take risk. We're not trained to take risk in our continent,
Great.
So where there are opportunities that exist, they don't want to take it because they feel that they're already limited, so we need a certain cultural change, a dynamic to change, and it starts from the home. It starts from the family. I came from a home where my dad was my champion, so people see me as some confident person and all that. Don't get it twisted. It's the background I come from, right? So we have people who are in Ghana, for example. You are taught not to speak out. You are taught not to defend yourself. You are taught not to defend yourself. And so when Changu comes to me and tells me, you're a great talent, I have an opportunity for you, I look at it like, what's talking about? I don't have the confidence. Changu needs me. Talented, but I will not do it. And then access to the internet so that when Changu has opportunity, I'll see in the north, the northern sector has superstars over there. Do you know they have to climb trees to even receive a phone call? Some areas of the north, right? They can't even have access to the internet. So with this session, Boniface, you cannot reach the north, most parts of the north, and that is where you may be looking for talent. So infrastructural, gaps are also a problem. There are some parts of the region we have decided these people, they are no good, and then we just sideline them. We don't give them access to infrastructure so that they can have this beautiful opportunity over here. So the government has a lot of work to do. So for the sake of time, I think that's a few I want to share.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Emma, and taking from what you actually said is that you, you, you see, when we are interviewing candidates or when we're asking them, you see, for example, let's say finance. So we ask them, what have you done? And they give you an answer that I've done bachelor's in accounting. Or I mean, you're competing in a market where there are ACCA graduates, where there are chartered accountants, where you have to grow yourself like in HR. You ask somebody. I have seen in my 21 years there are 1200 versions of CHRP that you can find online. Which CHRP do you want to do? Do you understand the value of that certification? So I mean, I asked somebody from Pakistan, and he said, I did see CHRP from one of the trainers. My second question was it internationally accredited? And he was blank. You see, okay, so yes, there are institutes like Shram, SHRM, HRCI, CIPD. I know they are expensive. I understand. Coming from somewhere from Pakistan, it's very expensive because the companies don't actually fund you for doing CIPD or SHRM. But my question is, have you on your own done any training yourself, or are you still dependent on the company or the education system? Have you moved out of that frame of mind? Because once you're going international, you are competing with people who have done a lot of certification. Let's say, coaching, right? So you found an online course for, let's say, $100, and you did a coaching program. Can you compete with somebody who's done it from ICF? You see, so you have to gauge yourself. You have to see yourself as whatever you rightly said, information is there. The information is available. You have the resources. Access it, look at it, see how the world is working. I mean, you don't want to use your brain, use chat GPT. Prompt in any way you can to get as much information. I mean, right now, just say what are the top qualifications. Let's say in audio engineering, what are the top qualifications required for HR, for finance, for supply chain? And then you can look into all of those elements. And while you are into and while you're looking into all of those elements, see where your interest lies. So if Changu can start small, but she had or she has a big dream, she moved her way up. If she would have been stagnant, we all know what happens.
Yeah, I just want to add on that, Hassan. Actually, what happened was when I was working as a waitress,
Mhm.
my bachelor's degree was in social work. So I didn't do anything specifically that was HR related. I didn't have a certification when I moved here. So I did, at that time, we didn't have Chat GPT. I did the Google research. What are the HR certifications that that can help me move into administrative HR roles in Dubai? And a lot of institutions came up, and I looked at different institutions. I looked at the different prices. Now, at that time, my salary was, that was 6 years ago, around 1,000 dirhams, 1,200, of course, with accommodation provided and everything, with service charge on top of that. I couldn't afford in my 1 month salary to pay a 5,000 dirham HR course. So what I actually did, I approached one of the institutions. It was emails back and forth, if they could give me a payment plan that I can have so that I would be able to afford this course because I need it. Okay, while I
Uh,
was doing, and bear in mind, this was a course that was not more than 2 months, and it was costing me
mm,
that much. So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I sacrificed and I did that course, and that course is what actually put me in a position to get the opportunity to cross train in HR, because I had known the labor law at that time. I knew the confidentiality, and confidentiality is something that is very big for Marriott hotels and Marriott as a company. So the fact that I was willing to do that, the director of HR saw the potential that I can actually be in HR, and that's how my career started. And last in 2023, towards the end of 2023, I used ChatGPT this time to see what other certifications that are required in the UAE market for HR professionals, and
Mm.
CIPD came up. Okay, and I looked at the different qualifications, or I looked at the different costs of the qualifications, and CIPD was something that I could say, okay, I can sacrifice for this, and I did my CIPD, which actually helped me get the new role that I just got about 4 months ago. So every time I upskilled myself, I found myself in a senior role than I actually, even before completing the course, I was able to get the role.
So yeah, that is exactly so. There was a beautiful saying I read at one place, and that perfectly fits what you said. So it so the saying goes that the problem is not the problem is your attitude about the problem. So if even if your job hunting feels like a storm, don't just wait it out, adjust your sails. So you have to adjust yourself like she did. So my story is that I have always been into organizational development, right? So when I came to Dubai, and I was telling people, look, I've got 20 years of experience in organizational development. There was one gentleman who said, organizational development, which part of organizational development? And I was like, what part of organizational development? Organizational development is organizational development. So then he said, no, no, no. Are you into organizational design and development, or are you into the workforce planning area? Are you into people and culture? Are you into this? Are you into that? So when I deep down looked into my resume or the work that I did, so I said, no, no, no. I am part of that organizational development ambit, but I am ODND. So I am a organizational design and development guy. So then I reframed my entire experience into what I actually was doing for so many years. And that and that helped me in such a way that there was an assignment somewhere, and they were looking for somebody who has experience with organizational design. Because I had talked to somebody, because somebody looked at my profile, that particular word stuck with that individual. So he directly approached me. So anything that you do, anything that you want to get done, create your own personal brand so people associate your skills with who you are. That is how you are going to find the right placement in the market. And then you can actually explain to the recruiters, whether in Africa, whether in Pakistan, whether in India, whether in any parts of the world, so they understand of what your strengths are and what roles should they pitch against you. So you see, it's all about branding yourself. It's all about telling yourself, and then information is there. Sh- all of us use that information to grow. So in whichever part of the world you are, use that information hub that you have at your fingertips, which is this. Use
Correct.
it. You use it as efficiently as you want. WhatsApp, I can I can follow up on WhatsApp. I mean, if we were to share a link with, let's say, 500 people, on an email, it will take us time, but putting it in one of the groups, you've just shared information in 1 second with, let's say, 200, 300 people, then, and that information grows. Asks.
Exactly.
There is no harm in asking anyone for help or for guidance. That is something I wanted to add.
Awesome. Awesome. Sorry, guys. Power had gone here. Um, one of the downsides of
The
Africa. Kenya,
African
although we are,
dilemma.
I beg, but at least we are better
I
than
thought
South
you're
Africa.
changing your atmosphere. I saw the dark room and the blue background. I said, oh, you're trying to be creative.
I
Oh,
tell
I'm
you.
changing the atmosphere and the lighting.
I'm telling you, you tell me that in Africa you cannot be a talent with these problems. You are not serious. The harsh environment is supposed to inspire you to be the best and bring
Actually,
out
and
the talent in
that's
you.
exactly.
It's an example. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to the comment section a little bit. Samuel Adotege is saying, awesome session. Thank you very much. Um, then we have Marianne Okanse saying, excellent submission, Emmeline Thambo and all panelists. Jacob Ortega is saying, nice advice from you guys. There was a comment I saw before my system went.
There is a very, very interesting comment from Robert. If you
I
can
Yes,
saw that.
highlight that. Oh
I
yeah,
saw
I
that.
would love to.
So, so Robert Omolo, I don't know if I can't project it. I think I lost it when my yeah, because I can't see it now on my. Let me see.
Okay.
I can't project it, but I can read it from LinkedIn. He's saying, does it work in gym section? And plus, I fight for a living. I do kickboxing, MMA. Any help with sports?
I don't know about sports, but professional bodyguarding, you're on in the way. You
Uh,
you are on, my friend, in Dubai. And one of the best strengths, Robert, that you have is gym. And people in Dubai are actually very much into exercising and gyms and staying healthy and all. So you're one of those talents that is actually required in Dubai. Kickboxing, and MMA, they have huge events in the entire Middle East on MMA fighting. Dubai has its own fighters in MMA.
mm,
Yeah, I
awesome.
have advice for Robert as well.
Uh,
He's got a very unique skill that I think that in Dubai would be very, very good.
mm,
And he can, if he positions himself where he gets an opportunity, he can do very well in Dubai, because that's not something that is cheap. First of all, even if you're doing home sessions, you're teaching
mm,
children, that's something that is actually a very valuable skill in Dubai. The advice I would give is use Chat GPT on what are the top industries or companies, or how can you get your way in Dubai with those skills. Chat GPT would actually, you would be surprised by how much information would be available. But also verify that information before just saying, oh, Chat GPT said this, and you
very
jump.
true.
Verify that
Mm,
information with people with different industries. Reach out to recruiters who are within that space on LinkedIn. Connect with websites. Also, most websites have career pages that you can apply for jobs. Once you have your CV, laid out and presented properly, and you create your LinkedIn profile, you would get a really good opportunity in Dubai.
mm. Excellent. And of course, please, guys, we do evaluation interviews where we're able to give you all this. Career coaching is actually a very key part of your upskilling. Just in the last 5 seconds, that's just a small example of what career coaching can do. As you can see, Robert, actually, no, Robert, he's one of our MMA fighters from Kenya, and he's a real fighter. But the question is then, you have a skill. Um, always reminds me of that guy for Taken. I have a particular set of skills. skills that I've learned over a long period career. you know. But the question is, how do you then apply those skills in Dubai? Okay, and it's true in every single sector. You may have certain skills, but how those sets of skills are applied in Dubai will need some contextualization, and that's why we come in and help you with the career coaching, so then you know how to package yourself. Because you may think, I don't have an opportunity, there's no hope for me, but actually just about learning how to repackage your skills. Of course, Hassan has also given an example of how he had to repackage his skill so that he's relevant for that market. So kindly, guys, reach out Bonnie at mawaida.com or a WhatsApp number +254 755 723 911. Please sign up for the evaluation interviews and let's begin your journey. And you'll have all these experts will be there to help you do everything that you need to do in terms of your upskilling, in terms of making yourself relevant. There is thank you for guys for commenting. Keep your comments coming. Jacob Ortega, I say nice advice from you guys. There's a question here that comes out a lot. Can you kindly give us direct link to those hiring in Dubai at the moment? Hmm.
www, we have no idea at all.
Ah,
.com. Seriously, have no idea.
Well, that's a very good answer, Hassan. Well, this is what Emma was talking about, being spoon-fed, right? This
hmm,
information is available online. We are giving you the information. You just have to go out there and find these opportunities. So if we were just giving out job opportunities and links to those jobs, we wouldn't be talking, would have just pasted those things on the screen.
hmm,
So if you really want to get a job really anywhere, not just in Dubai, you really need to put in the work and do the research for you to find the right opportunity.
Yeah,
hmm. Who
true.
wants to take that next? Let me say the problem, and especially with the Dubai market, is not what jobs are available, but are you available for those jobs? Okay, we are not just here. I mean, we've been talking here for 1 hour 22 minutes. If you go back to the channel, you'll find a lot of information. All that information is to prepare you for this job market. This is not somewhere where you just come in and get like there's no job that's waiting for you to just apply. I wish it was that easy. It's not, Jacob. And so it's not just about direct link to jobs hiring. What have you done? What are your qualifications? What's your job experience? What's the right fit for you? Okay. So there's very many jobs on any given day. There is 1,001 jobs, but there's a million jobs. Half of them are fake. So then the other
And
half that are actually real, you have to be ready for them. And all these things we are saying are the things that will help you to actually be ready for those jobs. So can you get a direct link to those hiring in Dubai? The quick answer is no. You cannot get a direct link. If there was, we wouldn't even be here. I would be sipping margarita somewhere and enjoying my life. I would not be here giving you all this information. Okay?
and before Jacob actually bans Patakazi Dubai because of this, but what Jacob, there's one thing. If you have a LinkedIn account, there's a section called jobs. Click on that, and then you can search on whatever you are looking for directly from there. You will
Mm,
see hundreds and thousands of jobs. That is just one link. There is Naukri Gulf, there is Gulf Talent. There are so many platforms, but what you need to do is you need to start searching the internet on where what your skill is, and where your skill can be seen. If it is LinkedIn, if it is those job sites, apply from there. If you have references, ask them to help you. But as of moment, there is no country in the world that has direct links on jobs.
mm,
Every company has their own website. Every company, every organization has their own way of hiring. So what you need to do, you need to package yourself either through LinkedIn, either through job portals, either through, let's say, WhatsApp groups. Just package yourself, see how you can um, land yourself into an area where you can see different jobs and you can apply on them.
Awesome. And something we have said repeatedly on this platform, guys, you have to approach this as a journey.
Yeah.
Honestly, if finding a job was that easy, man, this life would be good. But I just wake up and I just send my CV somewhere, and tomorrow I'm getting an offer letter, and I'm being paid $6,000. Wow! Even me, I want that job, you know. But guys, it's not that easy. It's a journey. So that's why we are here to just first of all help you understand how long this journey is. Um, we're trying to help you understand the animals and the lions that are in that journey, and then also help you navigate that journey. Um, so let's see. Oh, Robert Omolo is saying, thanks very much. Please connect me. Definitely. I'll reach out, Robert. Sign up for an evaluation interview. Let's help you. Let's help you go to Dubai. Although fighting in Dubai is illegal. Correct me if I'm wrong. But don't go
Okay,
there
so
to fight.
so what
I
I've
think
heard.
I think Hassan said he can come as a bodyguard, so the bodyguard thing he
Eh,
might get for VIPs.
eh, eh,
and
Yeah, it's a good
and
job. It's for VIPs needed, escorts and stuff. It's a good job.
yeah,
good.
and
Or
and
Hassan,
and
am I
and
wrong?
yeah, and if there is police, don't go there. If there's no police, everything is legal. So
Ah,
you have to be careful on, on what you do and where you actually do.
oh man. Shah, of course, our favorite commentator, Shah, is saying love to Changu and Emmeline. Um, Shah is a great follower and someone who is also a recruiter and a great fan of this platform. No woman, no cry. So we'll bring her on one time to just because she's been following every single session since we started. I think she can really share with guys what she's been gaining on every session. And I love this. I love that we're building a community. David Kankam is saying nice. Um, Yeah, I think that is all. Before we leave, Changu has you have a very good experience of recruiting. That because one of the things we really try with this platform is on top of right, there's a job people who are looking for jobs, but this platform is also really critical for recruiters. So I'm sure everybody in the backstage knows what you're talking about. But Changu, you have to share with us your recruiting experience. Don't say where it was from, but share with us your experience trying to recruit for one of your former employers.
Well, I'm surprised that you actually remember that. So in this is something that actually happened on two occasions. The first time it happened, it wasn't me, but it happened to my colleague, and I thought that's very interesting. And then the second time, it actually happened to me, and what happened was that we usually interviews are virtual. Where Dubai is known for recruiting people from all over the world, and as long as you have the right skill, you have the right attitude, you are hired for the role. It doesn't matter whether you have the qualifications. It's really if you are well presented, if your communication skills are good, you are usually hired for the role. Now, in one of my experience, my previous experience when I was in hospitality, I did an interview for a waiter, and this person was outside the country, and we had a very good interview. He was giving me very good examples about his experience and how many languages he can speak. And so the interview went very well, and we offered the person the job, and the person was communicating very well in the emails. Everything went great until the person was onboarded. So we did the onboarding, and so I wasn't the one doing the onboarding at that time. The actual orientation, the few days orientation, where they meet with the another person from HR who's going to tell them about the company and do the integration of Dubai. And so one of my girls at that time realized that the person is not contributing to the classroom setting. So then she came and she tried to have a conversation with the guy, and he wasn't speaking. So she came to me and said, the guy is not speaking English. And I said, what do you mean? I spoke with him. I did an interview. And she said, no, I asked him, do you know the restaurant you're going to work? Do you know this? And he couldn't answer. And I was like, there's no way. I have, well, the interviews were not recorded, but we have email communication from him. We spoke with him over the phone. He was great. And English is the common language that is spoken in Dubai. So you need, if you're going to be a waiter, if you're going to speak to a guest every day, you need to speak English. And then I met with the person, and in my conversation, he was not speaking any word of English.
Wow.
And so on his CV, he had listed other 2 languages, and I was using Google Translator to speak into it, to speak so that it translates what I'm saying to him. And he still didn't understand that. So, and then I was thinking, what else is a lie on your CV? Like, because it means that when I was interviewing him, someone was sitting behind the screen and was answering questions on his behalf. So then when I'm asking questions, he's just mumbling this like this. And somebody else in the back is answering the questions. When the person in the back stops talking, he closes his mouth. So because it's an online interview, you think it's the internet delay, and that's why there's a mismatch with the words.
Wow.
And yeah, so we realized that's what happened. And honesty is very important in the recruitment process.
Yeah,
So
honestly,
And
the
you
best
really
is
paid a ticket for him, you'd paid the visa, everything.
we booked, we started the visa process, we booked his ticket. All he had to do was just show up. And for a candidate like this, if they're willing to lie to that extent to get their opportunity, imagine what else they're willing to do when they're working for the company to make more money. So first, it's a risk. You have shown to the company that you're not very truthful. And so it was unfortunate, but we had to let the person go. And the sad thing, we had to book their flight back again to their home country. It was our responsibility to return them to their home country.
Yeah.
You know, Boniface and Hassan, it's funny how life turns out. But you know, on the flip side, some people would see this as resilience. Some people will see it as doing everything necessary to get something done. I mean, like, it's not about perspective, isn't it? Some employees are that crazy. Like, you know what? I like this guy. If you could do this to get here, then if I give you a target, you can only do double. What I would say to this gentleman who has, listen, as much as he wanted the job, for me, if he had potential, it's a different matter. If he was totally useless potential, then I mean that's a
But how can you see potential when somebody cannot communicate?
No. I'm not saying no. I'm speaking as a devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I'm not saying it was wrong for what you did, though. I'm telling you that there is a subset of employers that would have told you not to let it go. He just wasn't lucky. I tell you, there are some employers that are crazy, employers that want people who are weird. You know, the DNA of certain jobs requires certain kind of mindset. Because if you could, and what I see in the guy only needs guidance, is creativity.
Yeah.
He needs to be guided.
And he has tenacity.
I mean, I would never have thought of that in my life.
I know, right?
You know, I can't imagine. I've not heard this before, Changu. For me, this is never. I've never heard it before.
So
this guy,
Emma, yeah. So
I would have probably assessed him further on a different level. I mean,
okay, so
the employer may not want him again. The employer may not want him again because the employer may not like people that crazy. But I would have asked him. I'd have put him separately in an incubator and asked him what exactly does he want to do.
What happens, Emma, in situations like that?
What happened?
Well, in my previous, so this is not the first time it happened. When it first happened to my colleague, we kept the person, and the reason why we kept the person was because it was a housekeeping role, and they were not really required to interact with the guest. So there was that buddy system. You're only coming to clean the room, change the linen, and do all that. So there was not much interaction with the guest. And because we had already invested so much in the employee, we said, okay, let's keep this candidate. But when candidates like that are constantly kept in their roles, we are encouraging the system to continue being broken, and we're encouraging people to keep doing that.
No. That's not what I meant. That is not what I
Okay.
meant. What I'm saying is that there are certain things, for me as a recruiter, for Emily, I'm able to, not everybody would do that and have the opportunity.
Yeah.
What I have noticed even in my recruitment is there are people who I have deemed unqualified. For some funny reason, they find themselves in. Like, life just calculates its
I think the best example, Emma, is like cybersecurity. Like these guys who hack into very sophisticated,
unethical hackers. Ethical hackers. Yes, exactly.
If you hack
Hacking
into
is a
very
crime.
sophisticated systems,
But you need
those
to be a
guys
hacker to hack.
actually bring you in. They try and reform you and make you a bit more honest, but they keep
I have
you
to rob you,
because
and then
they're like, this guy is a more of a liability when he's outside than when he's inside.
But I want
But
to
those
put
ones are at least the government.
I want to put it in perspective before people think that we are encouraging malfeasance. What I'm saying is this: I normally look beyond the behavior and look at the reason. So certain people they have the opportunity, but like I think the language is a gap. So the first thing that I say, listen, for your punishment, you have 4 weeks to learn English. 4 weeks. Let me see whether you are this desperate to be where you want to be. Now, I'm not saying that he should be kept on the job, but the aspect you decided to hide from me, I would challenge you. I will take you back home and challenge you to go and get yourself learning the job and go and learn the language or the skill that you didn't have, and then you decided to be creative and get somebody to get you on. I give you 4 weeks to see how desperate or how much you need that job, and then probably put you in a character incubator to let you understand that yes, you probably thought that you needed this so bad, but in life you can't take shortcuts, right? But that's ability to think out of the box. If I see there is a potential to use you, I will use you. I'm just speaking Chango out of the box. I'm not saying that you should have for everybody, because as a recruiter, I see myself as a destiny helper. There are people who will never look like what you want, Changu. They will never look it, but they might be the best thing that you need. So I think sometimes for some divine reason, God normally directs us to even do what He wants, because at the end of the day, I'm placing people where they need to be. So there are one-off, I would say, outliers situations. You'll find such things happening. That's all I'm just trying to say. I'm not saying that you should become a yardstick for everybody. No.
I have something to add on that, Emma.
Okay.
If I was looking to move to Spain and I wanted to get a job in Spain, I would make it a goal by January 2026. I will speak Spanish. It means that every movie that I watch, I would
get on YouTube or what they're telling novellas. You will get it. You will get.
I'll get every information to make sure that in 6 months I know how to introduce myself and I know how to write in Spanish, and I have every information that I need. So there's no excuse in this 2025 world of internet where an employee wants to get a job in another country that they don't speak that language. They move and totally have no idea. Even after they got the job, they had 2 weeks to learn how to speak.
Yes,
I don't know how much
I would
learn in 2 weeks. Yeah, but
I love what Emma said earlier. There is no information gap. It is just you who's refused to access the information.
Absolutely.
So Robert, our MMA fighter, is saying, thanks. What I need advice on how to plan my documents. So yes, I think between me and Hassan, we already know who we can give you. You would be a good bodyguard for some people we know. We wouldn't mention them here, but between me and Hassan, we can already know somewhere where we can give you. We know some people who need some good
bodyguard. Exactly.
Bodyguard.
Guys, I need to mention something quickly. The role of background checks are very, very important. I don't know whether we've highlighted it enough. But I think that is the key, that for international recruitment, background checks. I think Hassan nicely mentioned when he said human or people laundering. It's very important that background checks are very key. We partner with background check companies to ensure that those we are taking away will do proper background checks for us before we let them leave the shores of their country to get to the country we are recruiting for. It will save us more money than investing in those
Mm,
companies to help us do proper checks. Thank you.
very
All
true.
right, guys.
Very true.
I think I need to
And
run. So
okay, okay. We're actually almost wrapping up. So and by the way, all the recruiters out there, please reach out to me, reach out to Hassan. Join this amazing platform. As you see, we have partners on the ground. We have partners in Ghana, in every single country. So to make sure we have safety on both sides. On the side of the recruiter, yeah, we want to avoid that situation of Changu. I'm just imagining the shock. So, and that's why we have this platform so that there's a safety on the side of the recruiter. Anyone who's gone through, because we do evaluation interviews first of all, and then from there we take them through an upskilling process. If this person cannot speak English, there's no way they're going to con us through the entire process. And so by the time we are doing this placement interviews with our partner recruiters on the other side, you're getting already a pool of talent that has gone through a certain process. So it's safer for you. Also on the side of the job seekers, as you're saying, money laundering, human trafficking, these are the tricks they use. So it's actually a matter of life and death. If you get, I mean, on worst case, the best case scenario in this case, you just be conned your time and money. Worst case scenario, you're actually talking of being conned, of being wrapped up in human trafficking and all this. So that's why we're creating this system so that we create as much safety as possible. So Jacob is saying, thanks a lot for your advice. I'll get in touch with Bonnie for the journey. This is a person who was asking for the direct link. Thank you, Jacob. Yes, and I'm glad at least we'll be able to sensitize you on the journey and what it takes, and hopefully you can join this amazing journey, and we can help you. So let's just wrap up this amazing session. Where do we start? We can start with Emma, since you're the one who has the floor. Give us your parting shots.
all right, thank you so much. Um, the opportunities out there are endless. You have no excuse not to be available. Information is, like we've all established, is readily available, but the willpower and the discipline needed to formulate the habits for a successful career is up to you. So please do well. Personal branding, working on mentorship, get coached is important. And I would also speak to recruiters to please understand the needs of the market, do your background checks properly, profile the clients and then the employees they need, and then serve them at the optimum best. It is possible. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Changu, maybe you can give us your parting shots.
Yeah, from my side, I would just like to, to inform the job seekers that opportunities are there. We just have to go out and find them and don't wait to be spoon fed with information. We have a lot of information out there. We have a lot of different sites that you can, you can verify whether these jobs are legit or not. So job seekers really use LinkedIn as a tool that can really help you, and other sites also in Dubai where you can find jobs. ChatGPT is your best friend, your assistant, your career counselor. Whatever you need, use ChatGPT to your advantage. AI is here to to help us. It's not going anywhere, and which is a very a big advantage right now, especially with the scarcity of opportunities in Africa.
Awesome. Hassan, any parting shots?
Um, I have given so many batting shots, even I don't remember how many.
Give us a parting shot of the parting shot.
Sure. So, for me, talent isn't about challenge. It's actually about visibility.
Mm,
So once you understand how you can portray yourself out in the market, positioning yourself will not be a problem anywhere in the world.
mm. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, for me, yeah, I've also given some parting shots. I don't know uh, what to say, but I guess it's just almost a repetition. Some things are so important that they need to be repeated 20 times. And I think Emmeline and everybody else has said the ball honestly is in your court. We are here. We try as much as possible to organize this, webinar, and we really hope that the information shared here was useful to you. Please share this link to everybody and anybody, your friends and family, anyone who's looking for a job and looking for a job in Dubai. Please share this information with them. But most importantly, please recognize your personal responsibility in the journey. We'll try as best as we can on our side, but if you don't do your part, we've given you the opportunity of the evaluation interview. Pick that. And by the way, you don't even have to pick our routes. You can pick there are many routes to the top. You don't have to use the Patakazi routes. We're just here trying to make it as easy for you as possible. So please continue joining these webinars, inform yourself. Keep your head in the game. If you're looking for that job, keep going, keep pushing. Don't give up, because if you're bad at looking for a job, you'll be bad at doing the job when you get it. So the same attitude that you approach your job search is the same attitude that you're going to approach in the job once you get it. So keep that positive attitude, keep informing yourself, keep growing, keep aiming higher, keep going for the next level. And yeah, join us for another webinar next week, same time, same place. Sign up for the evaluation interviews, reach out to us. Any information you want, we are here for you. Until then, bye bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.
Mm.
Bye, everyone. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.